Yeah, so shall we talk about the Switch 2? Well, I got mine. Courtesy of you. This is all thanks to you, man.
Yeah, I got 2. I believe I detailed that story about getting 2. Wasn't planning on going to the midnight launch for Best Buy, but I was like still awake, and I was like, let me just drive over to the mall that has like shootings sometimes. I like texted my wife. I was like, if I don't come back, it's because I died trying to get Switch 2. It was pretty orderly. Like they had like a line for the people who pre-ordered it, and they had a line for people who just showed up. And that was longer, obviously, but it seemed like everybody who stood in line who didn't have a pre-order got one, so that was nice. There was like people, and they were like going around, like, oh, if you have a Nintendo shirt, we'll give you like a patch. And I had a Kirby shirt on, like my Kirby shirt I wear sometimes, so I got a little Bowser patch.
I wonder what would count. Like, what if you were wearing the Chrono Trigger shirt?
No, I don't think so. I think that would be like,
nope.
What
first party or like closely affiliated.
It has
Pokemon.
To be, it has to be in Super Smash Brothers or nothing.
Yeah.
Solid Snake counts.
Now you got me wondering why there's no Chrono Trigger shit in Smash Brothers.
Well, wait for the next one. It felt like a going away party for Best Buy, because it's like, how long can they do this? Like we mentioned in the previous podcast, where it's like the section with all the video games is really small. It's mostly just like refrigerators, and it felt like a going away party for me anyway. And then they also handed me this coin, a Switch 2 coin. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. It says Best Buy in the back, again commemorating that this is the last console launch Best Buy is going to be a part of. I'm just like I don't know. There was something weird about it. I was like, I feel like this is the end.
Everything does end.
And then the next morning, Walmart, because I had the pre-order at Walmart, they hand delivered. Like they had a car come to my house, and they delivered the Switch 2. And they did it with a Pringles can. They included a Pringles can and a Coke, a Coca-Cola Classic.
Was that my Switch? Which one was mine?
Yeah, I ate them. Yeah, yours was the Walmart one. I ate the Pringles. I did not.
That's fine. You don't need to give me the Pringles. I was just very happy that somebody arranged for my Switch 2, and you mailed it to my house. It was very, very, I mean, it was the easiest thing I've ever done in my life, was just give EJ money and get thing.
Yeah, it was. I basically got it and immediately went to the post office and sent it to you.
And that was great.
They were pizza Pringles, which I haven't had pizza Pringles in decades.
I don't think I've really had Pringles in forever, like straight up. There's a few snacks like I used to have that are just gone, from like combos. Remember combos?
I mean, it's definitely like you eat it and you're like, well, this is just like flavors and like oil.
Yeah, because it's just like paper, right? It just like evaporates. Yeah.
Because it's like, it's not even like sliced potatoes. It's mealed up potatoes somehow constituted together into that shape. And it's oily, and it tastes so artificial, but I don't know, it hit the spot that day. You know, I got home and I started playing with it. The fucking B button doesn't work. My B button on my Joy-Cons is pretty stiff. I don't know why. I don't know if that's something I should ask Nintendo about.
You should have taken mine and given me the.
I know, if I sent you this one, you'd be like, piece of
what
shit.
What the fuck?
I'm actually glad I got the broken one, because I don't want to hear it from you.
Well, I wouldn't have blamed you. Fucking EJ with his broken B buttons.
This is my Switch with its Joy-Con missing. I sent it to Nintendo. This actually happened to me with the Wii U as well. So this is not a new phenomenon with Nintendo with launch products. The joysticks wouldn't press down. You know how they have the joystick buttons? They didn't work, and it would rattle. Like I'd shake the system and it would rattle loudly. And so my brand new Wii U, I had to send that out too.
Somebody in the comments recently said, like, hey, I just love the way the Wii U feels in my hands. Like, it's unfortunate that it's not a full-blown handheld that you can take everywhere, because it's, like, ergonomically really comfortable. And that really resonated with me. And I feel like the Odin 2 is the closest thing I have to that, because as much as, you know, I like a lot of things about the design of this, and we'll get into it. But I don't know. I think, like, the flat ass of it, for me, I might benefit from some, like, grooves, especially since it's so large. I don't have big hands is part of it.
Yeah, no, holding the Wii U right now, I completely completely agree with you that it's actually super comfortable, actually.
Yeah. It's a really nice pad. If only it was like 1080 and all the rest of it.
I don't mind, like, I think, especially since I mostly will probably play docked with this, I don't mind having it be like that. And also, the screen's so big and with the kickstand, like, yeah, I could just play, like, with the kickstand a lot of times.
Yeah, well, we were on the train recently, and I'm actually not a fan of the hugeness. I'm not the Steam Deck guy. I think, like, the Switch 1 size is about as large as I feel like going for a handheld.
Yeah.
If you want to play 2-player on a train with a kickstand and 2
Yeah.
controllers, the size can be really quite nice. So depends. It's like I'm with you. So far, it's been mostly docked for me. I haven't, but and it feels like they're doing that thing where they oscillate between large and small. Like you just know that what's coming is like the Switch Micro, the Switch 2 Micro, and like, oh, finally, it's small. They made it big just to make it small.
Without the Joy-Con, I haven't felt like playing it much. The boys have been playing Tears of the Kingdom, and I was like, oh, do you notice like and we have the upgrade version, and I was like, oh, do you notice like the graphics are better? And they're like, no, not really.
No.
This is like the same game.
It's Tears of the Kingdom, Dad. Probably would. I actually haven't gotten to experience Switch 1 games on it yet. I've been wanting to tell you this story for a while. We bought the $500 bundle, right? We are part of the problem, as many of our fans would say. You were supposed to have boycotted this, and instead you joined the record number of people that bought it. Look, I like what EJ says. He's like, it's a fucking toy. Buy it or don't. Like, enough. You either have $500 kicking around for something fun, or you don't. You don't have to buy it. Like, you could totally be like, it's too expensive for me, right? If enough people do that, then they'll lower the price. But not enough people did that.
And you could be like my kids who don't even care that Tears of the Kingdom runs like 30 frames faster. They don't give a shit.
Well, Gloria, I was expecting her to be like, whoa, Dad, you got us a Switch too? And instead she was like, okay. She was being weird about it. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, you don't want to play a Switch 2 with me? With a nice new Switch? I think we could maybe get our old games over to it. And she's like, that's what I don't like. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, the Switch 2 is my arch nemesis. I was like, what do you mean it's your arch nemesis? She said, I don't like that it's trying to kill my Switch 1. She is very attached to her Switch 1. Wow. She plays Minecraft on it all the time. And you've seen her on her Switch 1 before. Yeah, she didn't like the idea that there's like some new device that's coming in she was like, she started making up some story about like in the middle of the night, the Switch 2 is going to sneak into the dock of the Switch 1 and kill it and take all of its games and all this stuff.
Buzz Lightyear, man. It's the classic Toy Story story.
I was like, fuck, like enough with the personified toys. I haven't transferred any of this stuff. And the reason is because I'm a digital only guy on the Switch. I bought something like 5 or 6 physical games early on in the Switch 1's life. And then I kind of I was like, you know what? If it's handheld, I just want to take all the games everywhere. And it's just easier for me. I ended up having to buy like a 1.5 terabyte SD card to support the number of games I've bought because I'm the kind of guy who buys a lot of and this is why the $70, $80 thing doesn't keep me up at night because I actually don't buy a lot of the $60, $70, $80 games. I buy $5 games and $10 games, like a lot. I have a high quantity of games and it's like Doom 64 and M2's release of Virtua Racing or like I kind of snatch that stuff up. A lot of retro stuff or retro inspired, Shovel Knight or whatever. So I have a lot of games and it was my, like you can go back to an old podcast where you and I were like, they're going to have to be backwards compatible. And I feel like as of NSO, and the Nintendo accounts of the Switch eras, because we all know that like, anything you bought for the Wii, like I think generally didn't transfer over to the Wii U, and then anything for the Wii U generally didn't transfer over to the Switch. So it's like this is gonna be. We're finally gonna be in a time where like if you're buying fully digital, you're not rebuying fully digital every time you upgrade your hardware. That would be bullshit, and it's really not like what cloud computing's about. So I was pumped about that. It was my favorite thing about the Switch too. And I popped it on. We've all seen it before where it's like, hey, do you want to like start transferring? You want to like get this all set up? I thought like the setup experience was excellent. And I'm a fan of, I actually really like the strategy they've gone with, which is to not be crazy innovative. Just give me a hardware upgrade. Because the fact of the matter is like the Switch 1 already did all the innovation I like. And at this point, like I think they've standardized on the kinds of games they're releasing and put out a lot of, controllers and stuff I already own that I want it to work with the next one. I'm not looking for something that like comes up with some new Wiimote invention that makes the last shit obsolete. So I really like this, just kind of a straightforward, no nonsense hardware upgrade. And I like the setup instructions, but I was like, oh, I'm going to have to buy, I'll buy another, I'll buy another 1.5 terabyte SD card so I can pull it all over. And I actually ordered it. And I was telling that to Discord, and they were like, "You're old. You're officially old. You're an old man." They kept throwing this old thing at me. And I was like, "What?" They're like, "You can't just buy an SD card. It's an SD Express card now." Okay, fine. I'll buy a 1.5 terabyte SD Express card. No. They don't make those. I was like, "What do you mean they don't make those?" And they were like, "They only make up to 1 terabyte." I was like, "Fuck. Well, fine. I'll buy a 1 terabyte one." They're like, "They're sold out permanently." Yeah, it was the first time I raged out on I was like, "Oh, fuck this thing. Like, I can't transfer my games. Like, come on." Yeah, I guess like Lexar or something makes the 1 terabyte one, and they're gone. And you go to the Nintendo site, it's Mario, and he's selling you a 256 meg one. Yeah, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Or whatever, 256 gigs. Excuse me.
I got a 256 one, and it's immediately full. Like,
yeah, of course it is. I know that. I'm not dumb. It's so ridiculous that there would be this downgrade. They're like, well, technically it's an upgrade because the Express can run faster games.
It is faster. It is faster. Like because I streamed Dark Souls on the Switch, and the load times were like so slow. And then I like booted it up, and it was just like, I was like, whoa, it's crazy.
Well, that's nice. But am I to understand that I'm like the only person in the country? I must not be, because the fucking thing is sold out, the 1 terabyte one. Like, am I one of the few people that has a lot of games on this the Switch was around for 8 years.
Yeah, I have a 1.5 terabyte on my Switch one, and I need that for this, but I can't get it. Yeah.
So I'm not buying it. I'm not transferring nothing until this is sorted out. In the meanwhile, I'll play Switch 2 exclusives. And so the one that was bundled was Mario Kart World, and I did a dumb thing.
Oh. So
it came with a little card, and I kind of ripped the boxes open, get my Switch 2 up and running. I love. I do want to say I think the magnetic thing is really nice. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, it's nice.
Not having that on rails. I just like the way.
I only have one Joy-Con.
What's that?
I only have one Joy-Con to do that with. Otherwise, I didn't.
I would have bought a new Joy-Con by now.
I almost did, but see, I don't really like Mario Kart World, so I don't have a huge incentive to play it right now. Like Donkey Kong Bonanza was out right now, I'd be pretty pissed. I don't have a huge urge to play Mario Kart World.
It came bundled with this card. The card represents an $80 game, as we know. And so I threw it in the trash accidentally, and thinking it was like a solicitation or something. And then so then I figured that out. And I went into the trash and I retrieved it.
Okay, I was like, I was half prepared for you to be like, and then the trash took it away, and I had to
rebuy it. Yeah, no, nothing like that. But then, I'm downstairs. I'm ready to, it says like scratch here to get the code. So there's like a 16-digit code, and that's going to be your download code. And it had like a thin film that was covering it, and with a little flap, as I recall, or it felt flappy in some way. And I got it. I think I just didn't read, and I got it in my head that really what I needed to do was pluck at that film and then pull the film, and then that would reveal the card. It was like more like a sticker, not a scratch off, like a lottery ticket.
And you peeled the whole code off.
Dude, I got about maybe 5 or 6 characters in that were mangled before I was like, oh fuck. And I started, because there wasn't enough give. And I started scratching the rest of it. Oh, that's what you're supposed to do. I was like, so what do I do? Because I don't know what these first fucking 5 or 6 characters are. Just through like the power of probabilities, that's probably a 6. Started just kind of working through it.
You're like Doc Brown taping the note together.
Yeah, try to get GPT's help to like, just like, what is that probably? And what is that probably? It had no fucking clue. It was guessing all the wrong ones. But like, man, did it feel good when like finally like, cha-chink, and it was downloading. I was like, whew. All right, good, because that represents an $80 video game right there. You don't want to lose that card if you buy the bundle. Stupid me. I wonder if anybody else did that, or if I'm literally the only person on the planet. Yeah, I love that the UI is the same mostly.
Yeah, I know people are like complaining about it, but I love it. I love that nothing's different.
What are we doing? I'm buying new hardware to change the menus? Fuck that.
In the games, so I did transfer some games. They do play better. Like I think this is like a unsung feature of the Switch 2 is like the Switch 1 games work better, like especially first party titles.
Yeah.
From what I can tell, I finished Echoes of Wisdom on it on my stream, and it played better. Like because you know how Link's Awakening has like a little bit of lag, like on the Switch 1 for some reason, even though it's like basically a 2D game, but it's doing something it's not supposed to, so it has lag. Switch 2, it's great, plays awesome. So it's like kind of a hidden feature that they don't even advertise.
I feel like all of the kind of web infrastructure that has gone into Nintendo accounts and digital downloads, all that infrastructure was laid for this moment.
Yeah.
Maybe it takes some of the excitement out. Maybe it takes some of the new shiny new toy excitement out. But I would kind of prefer that it follow more of like an iPhone model where it's just like new iOS updates all the time. And sometimes you need new hardware. You need to upgrade to new hardware, new camera, equipment. I like that the Joy-Cons are not flush with the controller because of the magnetic thing, the controller grip. I think that's kind of nice. Is there anything dumber than the people that say, why not just buy a Steam Deck?
It blew out the lifetime sales of the Steam Deck like instantly.
Well, of course it did. They're not they're only comparable if you're looking at specs.
Yeah. Because like even to this day, there's people like, well, this game you have to kind of like tweak in the settings of the Steam Deck. Nobody wants to tweak the settings of the game in the Steam Deck.
Yeah, tweak it like crazy. It's not even close to. I mean, I can speak mostly from experience with the Odin 2, which I love, and I probably still prefer it actually in a lot of ways because I can play such a huge backlog of games illegally. But yeah, of course I like that, But as far as like a first party legal experience, like I'm probably going to want new Nintendo games. Probably going to want Donkey Kong. Probably not going to get Donkey Kong on a bootleg device, right, guys? I mean, come on.
Donkey Kong looks so good. It looks like Mario. Like it's definitely made by the Mario Odyssey team. It's got that kind of shine to it. Our
friends at Waiting for Nintendo, Jason Graves' podcast there and Hayden's podcast, they were musing about, is this a Mario Odyssey prequel by design? Is there? And I'm not sure the story is all that developed.
I don't think Nintendo gives a fuck.
Gloria watched the 17-minute video presentation on it, and she was like, because she loves Kid Pauline, fucking loves it. Mm-hmm. And she's just like, tell me more about, I want to know why she's in that rock. She wants to be a singer. Where's New Donk City and all of this? Like, she was really like, she just wanted to know the story.
And Nintendo will be like, it's whatever, it's fun. Just play the level.
If you were a child and I don't know, if you're Noah and you want to use this as a handheld, does that work?
It's not, no, it doesn't. They play it docked. I don't think either of them can comfortably hold it.
Now you have a Switch 2 Pro controller?
I do. I have the Switch
I can't get one. I can't find one.
I Switch 2 Pro controller. It's nice. I think it's almost exactly the same as the other one. I think the buttons might be slightly bigger, and the D-pad is slightly better. I think it's still a subpar D-pad. Like I was playing The Legend of Zelda. I was getting mispresses all the time on the D-pad.
Is this like an $80 controller?
It is a nice controller though. Like if for playing standard 3D games, it's awesome. For 2D games, if you want to play 2D games, 8-bit dough.
I have the 8-bit dough Ultimate. I've been playing that since I don't have a Switch 2 Pro. I've been playing on that. It's fine. It's good.
Dream Prophet, he sent me something.
No way.
He sent me the GameCube. I was loudly complaining about how I couldn't get one on the Nintendo service because you had to order a Switch 2 at the time. And he ordered it, and he did a really cool unboxing video. Did you saw that, right? The stylized
yeah, it was awesome.
And which this is featured in it. And in the video, he says he's sending it to me. I have not played it yet. I have played GameCube, and I think the GameCube games run great. I'm sure there's like a modern vintage gamer video. It's like the GameCube games are subpar at this moment, and then it's like, I don't know, I can't tell. It feels good to me.
Yeah, I saw some thumbnail that was like, needs improvement. My only complaint at first blush, I think I said, remember when we saw the announcement and I was like, well, geez, it would be really nice if like F-Zero could be in like full 1080p widescreen. Somebody was like, well, you can, because that game always supported that, and I didn't see Can you do that?
Yeah, I did it. I did it on you could. There's a setting somewhere, and it's in game. You have to do it inside the game.
But it also begs the question of Wind Waker. It's like, well, why not just release Wind Waker HD? You know,
that's true. Wind Waker is because you can do widescreen with Soul Calibur and F-Zero, but not.
Maybe they'll release Wind Waker HD. They really ought to. But it makes it kind of redundant when you release it on the NSO. And then at that rate, just put out the nice one, I would say, or, have 2 modes, remastered and classic. That'd be very, very cool to your audience.
Oh, that would be great.
Especially if you have no intention of ever releasing Smash Brothers Melee, Mario Kart Double Dash, which I hear, like, at least with Melee, Nintendo's very anti-Melee tournaments.
I don't understand that. I there must be some lore behind that. I don't know it.
Okay, yeah, I figured you knew. But they're like never going to happen. They're never going to do it. I can understand a little bit of like, we don't want to compete with ourselves. Is Double Dash competing with Mario Kart World? I don't really think so. But
I don't think so. And I think like just having eyes on the Nintendo brand is a net positive anyway. So like, I don't understand why.
I think Double Dash is my favorite Mario Kart.
Oh, interesting.
I might be in a very rare camp there. I love it. I played a lot of it. I love 64. I probably put the most number of hours into 64 back in the day. Well, I don't know, actually. In college, I played a lot of Double Dash, a lot of battle in Double Dash. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think if I were to say how much I've played of all of them, Mario Kart 64 is probably the most. I played quite a bit of the Nintendo DS Mario Kart.
Did you see that PC port of 64?
No, I saw it, but I haven't like seen it in action. I heard.
Yeah, you got to see it because somebody showed this, super widescreen version of it, like mega widescreen. It was like super high res. It was really cool.
Welcome to Mario Kart.
Mario Kart. Great, I get it. The Joy-Con kind of requires this, but we're not going to do D-pads anymore. We're done with D-pads around here.
Because I kind of don't mind the split D-pad, especially because the D-pad on the Pro Controller. If I want like accurate inputs, I'm fine with it. Because like I know I'm pushing down now. I know I'm pushing right now. But yeah, I really wish the Pro Controller had just a better D-pad. I think that to me is the bigger disappointment.
And the NSO in general, I thought like the interface is just a lot nicer. The fact that they kind of bundle and package in all of your NSO offerings, the N64, Genesis, etc., that was kind of cool. I still subscribe to the expansion pack for no good reason, probably.
I did notice the CRT filters on the N64 games, which
was that new?
Yeah, they have a new.
They know that like crystal sharp N64 is not really the way you want to go. We could talk about Super Mario Kart World, right? Or Mario Kart World, excuse me.
Yeah. I haven't played much of it, obviously, because of my I'm racist against for some reason.
So I played a fair amount of it. I mean, I'm probably nowhere near the average gamer or anything like that. Gloria, after some resistance, has taken to it. And she has always not really loved Mario Kart because she loses, right? So you lose, you don't want to play. It's like when you play with kids, you got to let them win a little bit so they want to play. So, but I think it's Grand Prix in particular have always kind of turned her off, feeling like you're losing one race after another, Somehow the knockout tour solves this problem. So, for those who don't know, it's instead of doing a Grand Prix of like this course, then this course, and this course, and this course, you instead run through a series of courses, no laps. You just run through all of them contiguously. And then, but you can't proceed, you can't progress if you are in like the bottom percentile. First it's like you gotta be in the top 20, then you gotta be in the top 16, then the top 12, top 8, top 4. She's been really enjoying that actually. And she's actually been playing great. Like on 50cc, she's been regularly able to get second or first place.
I think my boys they like the Mario Kart sequence inside the movie. But for some reason, they don't care about Mario Kart at all. Huh. They're still stuck on Tears of the Kingdom. So
if there's a really strange thing about the game, there's a lot of strange things about the game. When I first turned it on, I was disappointed by it because it felt very samey. I'm like, this is just Mario Kart. I've been playing like iterative Mario Kart for 10 years with the fucking. I kind of, as you know, fell out of love with 8 at some point. It felt like it's like, is this Mario Kart or is this like is this open source Mario Kart? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I needed Mario Kart to take the next step, and this was supposed to be that. And when I kind of realized like free racing thing that doesn't allow couch co-op. Well, that's pretty disappointing because Gloria would have really enjoyed that if we had done couch co-op because she likes racing around. But still, that's a really cool mode because you get to see all kinds of parts of the map. Probably 90% of the map is there instead of on the actual like raceways that you're going on in the other ones. And yeah, there's all kinds of fun. There's no campaign, sure, and there really should be. But it's fun to be like, all right, collect all the blue coins. All right, try to catch up to the guy. Okay, catch the thing. Like it could keep you busy for sure as a little like arcade game. One of the odd decisions is the character roster. It doesn't have like alts. So it's not as though you go to Wario and then be like, oh, I want to put him in this costume. It's that you unlock new variants of the main characters as new characters. So you unlock Biker Wario. You unlock touring baby Rosalina.
That seems like it crowds the...
It totally crowds it. But so at first I was like, this is weird. And then it became fun for us because we would do Knockout Tour. So the way that you unlock them is you come across these little like these Yoshi shops on the raceway that has these little like a hamburger or like some food, and you eat it and then you turn into that character mid-race. And then you've unlocked it from that point forward. And then as you collect coins, you unlock vehicles just like in the last game. But that was kind of interesting, I thought. I like when you grind, it feels just a little bit tighter to me, or maybe tighter is not the right word. It feels...
You mean drift? You mean drift?
The drift, yeah. It feels, I don't know, more intuitive in some way. Like it feels...
Yeah, I agree with that. From the little I played, I thought the drifting felt better.
I could go from, like, some of the animation is, you know, like the car will dance, or like the way that it, when it drifts, it'll, you know, there's kind of this like more cartoonish animation. I could go for a lot more of that. Like go off the reservation for animation.
Yeah,
which,
no,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean? You know, a lot of people compare it to like, hey, why not just do the Diddy Kong Racing thing? Like they had a really interesting thought there. Like you have this open world. I'm with them. I'm like that would have been really fun. You know, especially like in Diddy Kong Racing, you had the overworld and it was small because it was N64. Imagine an overworld that's that humongous. They have some very creative areas of the map, like Boo Cinemas, Princess Peach Castle. You can drive all through this kind of like raceway version of the castle. The music is beautiful. Have you heard the music?
Yeah, the music is awesome.
It's fun. It's fun. It's given, you know, I wanted to push it a little bit further because I think like there's having an open world Mario Kart is really cool. It's like
they played a little too safe.
Now do something with it. You know what I mean? The story of buying a Switch 2 so far for me, and this includes Mario Kart World, is you have purchased Nintendo infrastructure for the future.
Yeah, exactly.
You have not yet really bought an entire meal, but you have your meal ticket. And you've got an appetizer.
Yeah, that's why when people are like, oh, it only has Mario Kart, and why didn't it launch with Donkey Kong? It's like, Donkey Kong releases like in a month. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's like, that's no, like for an adult, that's no time. So this must be young people complaining.
Yeah. A lot of like still prefab things in this game. Like the blue shell animation. It's the exact same fucking blue shell animation that I've seen since the beginning of time.
Yeah, when you said like the animations like could have more pizzazz, it's like it's kind of interesting because Mario Wonder had a little more pizzazz to it. I mean, they could have really amped it up with this.
I thought that maybe we were going to get the Mario Wonder of Mario Kart, but maybe with some more replayability, because that's probably Mario Wonder's biggest weakness is it's like low on replayability because there's a lot of the excitement is just getting the wonders and running through them the first time. But like even like the menus, the scoreboards, the trophies, they're pretty much all the fucking same as the last game, which maybe that would be okay. I like that when it's the menus of NSO, but I don't like that when it's like a game that's meant to have like a unique experience for $80 too, by the way. Don't forget.
Yeah. I mean, the promise is that maybe there's going to be updates, maybe they're going to add a mode, maybe there's going to be...
Yeah, dude, I've literally heard people say, I look forward to the DLC. And I'm like, no, we can't already be here. We can't do this. I'm really excited to see what they're going to come out with my game I already bought next. Final complaint, and then I'm done with Switch 2 for a while until Donkey Kong, I guess, which I will buy and play eagerly. DK is back, man. It seems right, like that character. They haven't been able to kind of get juice out of that character, but I think they're going to go for it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it looked great. It looked like they put all the first party love that they put into a 3D Mario and they put it into Donkey Kong, which is great. I mean, I'm really hoping they have a Donkey Kong 64 skin in that game so you can look like Donkey Kong 64.
Final complaint was the Switch 1's dock, in my opinion, is better than the Switch 2 dock. And it's for one reason. The Switch 1 had a hinge. So when you need to access the HDMI and the power port, you just hinge it open.
They started doing this with the Switch OLED. So this is a Switch OLED dock, and it pops off.
I don't need it popping off.
Same shit. The original Switch 1 dock is superior, I believe.
I like the hinge because what's happening right now is I just pop it off because I like to bring the dock to other rooms if we want to play in a different room, and so I'm just like I don't need to like remember the access panel.
Yeah, well, I mean it's got a fan in it. I don't know.
Oh right, the fan. I forgot about the fan.
It has the fan, but
it's cool.
There's no reason it doesn't have a hinge on that back door though.
I'm happy to have it. Is $500 a lot for a video game system? Yeah.
Yeah, well, how much do you think that Xbox handheld the ROG Ally X or Xbox or whatever? I think that's gonna be like $700.
Zero shot that it's anywhere near what the Switch 2 is. This is what games cost. Or it's what, I mean, again, the iPhone is like $1,200. You know? And you don't get an iPhone for 8 years. You get an iPhone for like 2. And so, or 3 or something.
My biggest complaint is that tomorrow I'm leaving for Montreal and I don't have a fucking Joy-Con.
Oh, that sucks. So you can't really play in handheld mode.
I'm probably not even going to bring it.
Why not just buy it? I like to have 2 because then the other set can act as a dedicated controller. And then when those run out of batteries, I can swap it with the ones that have been charging in the dock.
That's a good idea, Satan.
Right?
That's a good idea. But in actuality, I'll probably bring my ROG Allies.
There's plenty to play on that thing, right?
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.